Alrighty, go. I'm a little cuter today. Maybe a little um somewhat librarian. If my hair was down, I could say that a little sexy librarian. It's porn going here. Anyway, Lauren Mooney here. We're gonna read chapter 2 in Little Old Me. All right, so just to recap, I read chapter 1 the other day. Um and we are going to do chapter 2. Uh, so my ex-boyfriend is Ryan Dunn from Jackass, or was. Um, Stalked and harassed all over national television. They made a movie about me called Haggard, how much of a, bitch and a whore I am, because that's all Bam can fucking come up with. Uh, anyway, we have I gotta plug this in real quick because it took me so long to get here. All right, now we're set. Don't get disturbed again. Okay, so chapter 2. Uh, this is called Already. Put my glasses on. All right. My eyes fluttered open, and I blinked a few times, trying to focus on the ceiling tiles above. The distortion in my sight slowly began to improve, but there was a halo glistening around everything. Where am I? What happened? I felt something on my face and tried to push it away, but my arms were so heavy that I couldn't move them. I saw machines with blinking lights when I tilted my head to the right, and I winced in pain as I rolled my head to the left. I caught sight of my mom's curly blonde hair when the room stopped spinning. I tried to speak, but instead I gurgled. Mom stirred and jolted out of her light sleep. Laurel? She jumped to her feet. Laurel, can you hear me? I felt her hand on my forearm. Laurel? A long, deep, hollow sound escaped from my throat. My mind scrambled to make sense of where I was, how I got here, and what was happening in this strange room. Just then, Mom called out for the doctor. Doctor, I whispered as I realized it was an oxygen mask strapped to my face. What happened? Laurel, you were struck by lightning. Do you remember anything? Her eyes filled with fear as she frantically pushed the call button. I was utterly confused as to what she was saying. I vaguely remembered the trek through the woods, but everything after that was a blur at best. I tried to lift the frog from my memory. I screamed out in pain as Mom touched my right leg. She jumped back, saying, What? What hurts? Your arm? And I said, No, my leg, I screamed. Just the sheet, hun. Hold on. The doctors are on their way in. Where am I? My throat felt scratchy as I questioned my surroundings. You're in the hospital in the mountains. Why? How'd I get here? A whisper was all I could muster as I cleared my throat. The ambulance picked you up at the cabin. Don't you remember anything? I shook my head. It's all so fuzzy. What happened? I looked at my hands. The left one was bandaged and throbbing, and the right one had an intravenous needle plugged into the vein. I twitched ever so slightly while my muscles strained from the dull pain that was pulsing through my body. Mom sighed as she explained what had happened. Just before Dad and I got there, you were struck by lightning. Thank God you're awake. Where's Nimbus? Is he okay? He's fine. He's at the cabin with everyone. He's worried. He's been sitting by the door waiting for you. We've all been very worried. Just then, a doctor walked into the room. Well, Miss Forte, good to see you have woken up. I'm Dr. Miller. He said this as he stretched out his hands, even though mine were unable to meet his. How long have I been here? I asked. Well, you've been unconscious since you were brought in. It's been about 74 hours now. 3 days? I struggled to understand. He removed my mask and said, Your math is good. It's been 3 days, 2 hours, and 25 minutes to be exact. We've kept a close eye on you. Your vitals have been fine, and your brain function has been productive. So we knew not to worry too much. Despite the positive reinforcement from his prior diagnosis, I could see he was relieved that I was not only conscious, but cognizant as well. You watched my brain activity. Is everything okay? I shielded my eyes from the lights as my arms throbbed in agony. We've had you monitored since your arrival. We could tell your brain was functioning at the normal level. Your heart rate fluctuated a little here and there, but we knew your body was in need of a lot of rest. You had a large amount of electricity pass through you. It hurts. I looked at my mom. I hurt. She forced a smile and dabbed the tears in her eyes. Dr. Miller interjected, I can only imagine that you do. Now that you're awake, I can give you something for the pain if you like, but I do have some questions to ask before I administer any type of medication. Okay, but I really don't remember anything. It's all so fuzzy right now. My arm felt like it weighed a ton as I lifted it to put my hand over my eyes. Why is it so bright in here? I'll give you a small dose to relax you, just to take the edge off, and then we'll get you some food. After you eat, we'll discuss a few things. Sound good? Uh-huh. I tried to adjust myself in bed and cringed in anguish. The doctor helped me sit up and used an extra pillow for support. Can I have some water, please? I'm so thirsty. Mom jumped up and poured me a cup from the plastic pitcher at the foot of the bed. I'm going to call Dad and let him know that you're awake. She paused. We've all been so worried, even though the doctor told us not to be. She tried to leave the room, but kept looking back with excitement that I was already, at the very least, conscious. She eventually disappeared into the hallway. I began to take in my surroundings. My head spun with confusion. What's your name? I asked the doctor. Dr. Miller. Can you turn off the lights, Dr. Miller? They are so bright. He stared at me. I couldn't figure it out. If he was diagnosing me, if he just thought I was an idiot, maybe he thought I was crazy. I was too confused to care. I've been asleep for 3 days, I asked the room. I was hoping it would provide a better answer than the thoroughly detached doctor who was in charge of my survival. A nurse came through the door. Hello, doctor, she said. He nodded quickly and retreated from the room. Hi, Laurel. It's good to finally meet you. I'm Kelsey, your nurse. I've got some pudding for you. Thank God, I'm starving. And oh yeah, nice to meet you too, I mumbled. Can you turn off the lights, please? It's so bright in here. It's stinging my eyes, and I feel like I'm getting a migraine. She stared at me vacantly. The look was oddly similar to the doctor's confused face. She hesitantly walked over and flipped off the light switch. Thank you. That's so much better. I'm really sore. Is that normal? I shoveled spoonfuls of butterscotch pudding into my mouth, sending my taste buds into hyperactive mode. So good. The empty look that she had on her face since our last initial meeting persisted as she explained. Lightning strikes aren't very common. Maybe not in your world, I thought, pushing her rambling into a distance. You took one hell of a hit, she said. I'm going to explain the severity of the thunderstorm and the local flash flooding. It apparently wiped out a few of the roadways and the trees while I slept off the pain. That's bound to make anyone tired or sore, or any two in your case. She grasped my attention with that last comment. Two? Two what? She fumbled with the tray and turned to rush out of the room. These people are weird, I thought to myself. Mountain folk are kooky. After that little exchange and newly added confusion, I rubbed my hands down my legs. My right leg hurt so much more than the left one. The pressure on my hands felt good, but it made my stomach rumble. The left hand was bandaged tightly and throbbed as I pressed it into my thigh. I took a deep breath and searched for the room for something familiar, but nothing jumped out at me. The doctor returned with a syringe full of clear liquid. He injected the fluid into my intravenous line and then dropped the needle into a large red container marked contaminated. Dr. Miller pulled the clipboard from under his arm, sat down on the stool, and spun towards me. All right, Laurel, do you remember anything that happened? I struggled with the question for a few seconds as I stumbled over my words. I know I was on a hike with my dog. We got caught in the storm, but we made it back to the cabin. I paused, unsure of what would happen next. I winced in the pain as I lowered my head into my hand. Do you remember where you were when you got struck by lightning? He asked. I paused in shock as the reality of my situation hit me all at once. I got struck by lightning. Lightning? I shuddered and hesitated. Trying to jog my memory. At the cabin, I think on the porch. Not really sure. The pain medicine really took effect in that instant. It made my head spin and everything on my inside wanted to be on my outside. Was anyone with you? He continued. No, Nimbus was there, but I think he was inside. I don't really know. I paused, looking around as I tried to jog my memory. I was going to cross the creek, but then we crossed the creek. I jogged my thoughts again. I think no, wait, it wasn't the creek, it was the bridge, the metal bridge. It struck. No, I don't think so much, but I remember being soaking wet. I think I was. So you were on the bridge before you got hit? Question mark. I think so. I'm sorry, nothing makes sense. It's all so fuzzy. My mouth was dried and chalky. My legs really hurt, especially this one. I slowly grazed my right leg. From what I've gathered, you came in with one sneaker on your left foot, which would explain why your right leg hurts more. The sole of the sneaker on your left foot insulated you and probably saved your life. We think the bolt of lightning hit the arm and the chair near your left hand, he said, pointing to my bandaged hand. Then as he waved his hands across the length of my body, insinuating that all of me should have been fried and that I was lucky to be here to have him tell me about it. I looked at him with a blank expression. My sneaker saved my life. Absolutely it did. Now the question is this: did it affect your baby? My baby? What baby? Miss Forte, you're 3.5 months pregnant. Weren't you aware of that? A rush of heat overtook my aching body. Pregnant? Already, I thought. I'm pregnant? I whispered as a smile kissed the sides of my lips. Yes, you are, Laurel. And from the looks of the test results, your sneaker didn't just save you, it saved your baby as well. Your baby seems to be doing just fine. My head began to spin and my heart pounded in my head. Pregnant? How did I get pregnant so quickly? I tried to recall. Did I know I was pregnant before I got struck, or am I finding out for the first time that I'm pregnant? And looked at the doctor. Did you tell my parents that I'm pregnant? We did discuss it, and they seemed quite surprised. He paused while studying my reactions. However, you don't seem to be that surprised. I can't say that I'm surprised. I don't think I knew definitely. I felt somewhat stripped of my doctor-patient confidentiality because I was 19 and he told my parents without my consent, but I figured that what's been done is done. And it was probably the best to have the cat out of the bag before I woke up anyway. Even though you're not a minor, due to the extreme circumstances, I needed to discuss every aspect of the situation with your parents. I'm sorry that may seem unfair to you, but if it's not any consolation to you, they didn't seem to be upset, he assured. Did you just read my mind? I thought as I nodded and lied. I understand. At this point, Miss Forte, they're so thankful that you're alive. Knowing that you are pregnant means that sneaker saved two lives, not just one. Instead of looking at this negatively, we're all looking at this very positively. You're giving them a grandchild, their first, from what I understand. Yeah, it's a first for me, too. A very surreal feeling brushed across my aching body. I'm going to be a mother, I thought as a joyful tear rolled down my cheek. Are you okay, Laurel? Dr. Miller asked. I stared at the blanket covering my body. My vision blurred and I became very faint. Why don't you finish your pudding and lay back? You've had one exciting vacation. Can I ask you a question, doctor? He turned and nodded. Sure. Is it normal for someone to be struck by lightning? I paused as I realized what a stupid question that was, but then I couldn't take it. The words back. The events of what I had been made aware of in the past hour had dumbed me down to the point where I could ask if breathing was optional without thinking it was an awkward question. He looked at me quizzically. No, it's not normal, but this has been one of the better outcomes anyone could ask for. You're alive and your baby's doing well. You should be grateful. I'll be back in a bit, but in the meantime, relax. Your baby needs rest too. Yeah, but I stopped staring at him as I adjusted myself slowly in my bed and writhed in agony. He turned back towards me. The look on his face must have made it clear that I was overwhelmed with confusion. I'm sorry, but didn't I answer your question? Trying to figure out how to word it properly, I organized my question. Well, if it's not a common thing for someone to be struck by lightning and survive, then how strange is it that this is the third time that I've been struck by lightning, or at least in the vicinity of lightning striking, and have still survived? And that my baby is healthy. I couldn't stop my rambling at this point. And this is the most severe and direct hit I've ever taken, but still, this is the third time. Shouldn't I be dead? I forced myself to stop as I saw the expression change on his face. It had gone quickly from I pity her to she's crazy. He said, I suppose it's just not your time to go yet. He turned and briskly walked out of the room. I laid back staring at the ceiling. The tiles were yellowed with age, yet had a radiance about them that glowed with life. It's not my time to go yet, I repeated. I studied the ceiling and pondered. Why does this keep happening to me? Question mark. The doctor returned and gave me another dose of medication. Is this healthy for the baby? I asked. He generalized. Anything I'm giving you is safe for the baby, but you must realize that you're our first concern. He smiled. We need a healthy mommy to raise her healthy baby. A healthy mommy, I mumbled to myself. How weird is that? I'm a mommy. With everything you've informed me about, I'd say it's the least weird event in your life. Teenage pregnancies are definitely more common than someone being struck by lightning multiple times, the doctor replied. I winced as I adjusted myself in bed. When can I go home? We're going to release you in the morning. I'd like to observe you for one more night. You'll need the rest of your vacation to relax. I chimed in and figured out what my life is going to become. Something tells me you're going to be okay, Laurel. You've got a great family that loves you, and soon you'll have one more person to love. He grabbed the TV remote and held it out for me. Now relax and watch some television. You deserve to unwind. Mom came back into the room. Why is it so dark in here? I can barely see you. I stared at her. Are you kidding me? It's so bright in here. Everything is glowing. Her face expressed understanding as she handed me a bottle of water. I opened the cap for you. Thank you. I'm so weak and the lights are still hurting my eyes, I replied. Still? The lights are still hurting your eyes? Softly, she stated, Laurel, the blinds are closed. It's almost pitch black in here. Next will be chapter 3, Discharged. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please continue checking out my book. Give me some likes and loves and definitely some shares. I'm really trying to get this to go viral, you guys. Bam Margera is a jackass. He has done everything to absolutely prevent me from getting this out to you. And I'm talking, I have like 4 Facebook pages. One I still cannot get into, which was the original one with my old phone number. And let's see, it's just been a living hell on that side of my life. My life has been wonderful. My son is fantastic. Praise Jesus. So please just do your best to try and help me get this out there. I really appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed it. Watch, rewatch, and share for me. Thank you. Love you. All right.